and welcome back to You Up. I'm Jordana Abraham.
And I am Jared Freed. It is so good to be back here with you, Jordana. How are you? What's going on? What's the haps?
What's the haps? It's been, I had a pretty boring Halloween. Besides, the highlight of my Halloween was our episode that we recorded Wednesday before Halloween.
That was the highlight.
Yeah.
I'm happy to be a part of it.
I didn't really do much.
No? Did you dress up again?
No, I didn't. It was
Okay.
like, we were invited to like one party, but it was like on Long Island. I was like, fuck that.
Right.
So,
Fuck those suburban losers.
but it's funny because I do feel like Halloween is like, to the childless, kind of feels like in your early 30s. It does feel a little bit like Valentine's Day when you're single, because there's so many. Like it's like a 4 or 5 long day, like shoving of like all the little, and it's cute.
This is interesting.
In the beginning, I really like it. It's like, oh, it's a little skunk. It's like so cute.
Right. The kids are dressed up.
Yeah, they're adorable. And then by like actual Halloween, you're like, all right. That's
Fuck
enough.
that baby pumpkin.
Right?
Yeah.
That's it. I don't need to see your whole fucking family dressed
Right.
up. As
We've seen it.
every day.
I don't need your kid in the wheelbarrow. I need to see your kid's candy haul.
Yeah, I mean that
Enough.
sounds crazy and bitter, but like
Right.
it is. It does.
Shouldn't they be eating apples?
I don't know. Is your feed like look like that?
So it is. My feed does look like that. It's interesting. You know, it is like it is so interesting because it's like we get these views of the world via this like one little keyhole of social media.
Yeah.
And then the keyhole, the view of it keeps changing. Some people's keyholes just looking at hot chicks.
Right.
Being a sexy
Butts and
fucking
boobs, yeah.
butts and boobs and sexy, elf on Halloween. Like, I don't know. And then all of a sudden it moves across the screen. It ages.
Yes.
And it's like, it's like those Disney cartoons from back in the day. They would just go, it just
Fast forward.
Well,
Yeah.
no, the Disney cartoons would be like it would be the cartoon in front of a screen that keeps moving behind it.
Okay.
Like we just, the age just changes behind the keyhole. So it's like, then the pregnant, costumes come into play. And then then you see the little baby in the, like I tweeted something about
Little
the
baby
baby.
in the pee or something.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the baby dressed as a lobster inside the pot. And you go, I love it. It's great. But then you go, and then you're like, well, I don't want to be there. I don't want to be with the baby in the pot. Like, I'm happy to be in hot chick, sexy vampire land.
Okay, I'm not in hot chick, sexy vampire land.
Well, that's the thing. And it's funny that like your view is like, you're like, I'm ready for that part of life a little bit.
Yeah.
And then you're looking at it, you're like, okay, enough.
Yeah, I mean, I did think it was very cute day one. I was like, bring them on. And then it is, because Halloween is like, it's a Monday, so it's up, but it's also just like a month-long affair.
It's definitely like a week leading in. You're getting more and more and more, and then all of a sudden, you're like, is it over yet?
Yes, and then November 1st comes, and you're like,
finally.
great, we can all relax.
It's done.
Not right.
Yeah, I did have a very similar feed of seeing. It is interesting because I didn't think of it until you mentioned it just now. Like I did have this week I was like, maybe I'm ready.
And now you know why.
Right, now I know why, because I did have these thoughts this week of like, what am I doing? I'm 37. I should be in the suburbs. I did have that this week. I was like, why am I feeling this way? I'm feeling so down.
You never see so much suburbs footage too.
People don't show it off until there's something to show.
Yeah, Halloween is major suburbs footage week.
I didn't even realize I had all these friends with kids.
Because they only bring them out to costume them up.
Right.
Yeah.
Cute them up. Yeah. Show me when they're shitting their pants.
Yeah, no one shows that.
No. And it is funny, like summertime, you get I want to be single because they're off in Europe. They're in bikinis. Everyone's having a good time. They got abs. Fuck yeah. And then you go, who do I ever want to be in a relationship? And then you get to fall and it's like, look at my baby and my sweet family. And look at, and
we're in theme.
We're in theme. Yeah. We're all lobsters.
There's something about a family that dresses up as like a fully coordinated themed outfit that you're like, this person has their shit together.
They've done it right. They're doing a good job.
Yeah. Like their family is getting along well enough that they're all agreeing. Like you would assume the parents aren't screaming at each other if they're willing to dress up as like the Addams family.
Right. Right. Oh my God. If you dressed up differently than your kids, shit has gone wrong.
Right.
You fucked up.
You doing your own outfit when you're married with kids? That's weird.
Right. Dad, why are you a sexy vampire? What the fuck? Are you sleeping around on mom?
So you said to yourself, I could have a cult. You know,
yeah.
Since you were a horse, did you do your shows in the horse costume?
I did my shows in the horse costume. Well, that was the other thing. You nailed it, because based on my keyhole view of the world, I was like, so I was in Richmond, Virginia. I didn't drink the whole weekend. I was feeling good. Sunday night, I was like, I'll dress up. I'll go to the Comedy Cellar. I'll do shows. I'll dress as a horse Sunday night for the shows. I go on stage in costume every year. The same thing happens every year. It never goes well. It never.
So why do you keep doing it?
I just think it's funny. It's for me.
Okay.
But you go up and you can see the crowd is like, is he going to do horse jokes or is it just a horse doing jokes?
Right.
They're not sure what are you doing.
Right. Yeah. How much is this going to be incorporated into your act?
And I don't go all the way on either. I do a bunch of horse puns and then
occasional neigh.
Occasional neigh. I give it one of those. Yeah. And they're like, wait a minute. It just shows you how much like an audience, and you need to lead. You can't waver. And I'm up there like horse, and then I'll do some dating jokes, and then I'll do some eating jokes, and then I'm like, hay's for horses. Like, and they're like, what's going on here? So I did it Sunday night, and no one else was dressed up. Like, I was like surprised.
Okay.
Because I was like, I guess it's over. Everyone did it Saturday. Because most people around a certain age, you did it Saturday. You got it done. You had your party. You got it out of your system. I went out on Monday, and there was the parade in Greenwich Village.
Yeah.
I fucked up. I should have dressed up on Monday.
Yeah, Monday is Halloween.
I know. I just was, again...
You know, the person who dresses up Sunday night is a crazy person.
I was just a guy in a horse costume for no reason.
Who's dressing up on Sunday night?
Well, my thought was like, it's over after this. Who celebrates on a Monday? But it's based on my like Instagram feed is like, we're getting it done. We're not going out on a Monday. Then you get on Monday, it's mayhem in the streets.
Oh, yeah.
You just see everyone in costume. I got to the cellar. There's a bunch of people dressed up on stage. I was like, what the fuck?
You didn't dress up?
No.
Oh my God, you have to dress up on actual Halloween.
I know,
wow.
I fucked up.
That's
that was on me. And I was so mad at myself. I really shouldn't. But you know, I told you I was trying to drink less.
Right.
But I chose Sunday as like I'm gonna have a horse costume, I'm gonna have a drink, I'm gonna like feel good about the people I hang out with and the drink and the whole thing. And I really did feel good. I had a good time. And then Monday comes along, I'm like, you fucking blew your load. What the hell?
You did not time this correctly.
I didn't time it correctly.
Well, next year you'll know. Next year Halloween will be on a Wednesday.
Wednesday's great because week is over. You do a Wednesday night. Fuck it.
Fair.
The rest of the week's over. I'm not.
It's a very weird time. It's like the weekend before, weekend after. It's going to be a little confusing.
I'm there. I'll call it right now.
I think it's going to be before, though.
No, you can't. You're right.
Because after it's like, okay, it's over.
Right.
Like,
Halloween's one of those things that don't trail.
Yeah.
They lead in.
Exactly. Because once it's over, it's like it's November 3rd. We're not dressing up.
No.
That's weird.
Yeah, next year's going to be horrible.
Yeah, worse than potentially this year, because if it's on a Monday, it's
Monday.
Like Saturday and Monday.
You get Saturday and Monday. Yeah. Wednesday, you're like, what are you doing on? Some people do the Saturday on the Wednesday one.
Unless we're recording this before the midterms, maybe someone put that on their platform.
I hope to God
that won't be an issue for next year.
The real issues they need to be decided in this midterm. No one's really talking about the election.
I think people are talking about the election
a little bit. If you go to a town that's not, if you go to some towns, I will tell you this. I travel this country. I see the country. Mm-hmm. The commercials in some of these towns scare the living fucking shit out of you.
The political commercials?
They are so annoyingly fucking brutal and scary, and they're all in black and white, and it's like, if you don't vote, you're gonna die in the streets. And you're like, just let me go back to New York City. Like, let me get out of here. Like, what has happened to everybody? And everyone's a little high. You could feel the everyone's on edge.
Yeah.
It's very tense out there. I'm looking forward to these
The elections being over. Elections, Halloween, we can all relax.
We can all finally chill.
And get to your favorite holiday.
Yeah, I'm sure the country will be brought together after they're done.
Yeah. I also wanted to, exactly, as we do.
Yeah.
I also discovered, just randomly switching the topic, I randomly discovered that, and I thought this would be a good warning to all the single people out there, is I have the new iPhone, and part of the new iPhone is you can edit a text, right?
So this was the big promise going into this new iPhone. I haven't experienced it.
Do you have the new one?
I don't. I need a new one because I'm charging as we do this. I do 7 charges a day at this point.
Okay.
So I need to get a new best friend.
Yeah, you do. An upgrade.
I need an upgrade. How is it? How's the new iPhone?
It's the same except for the charger. I mean, the camera, obviously, as always, is a little bit better.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, it's pretty much exactly the same, except for you can edit these texts.
So how does that go?
So I can, if I send you a message, I can click, you know how like sometimes you can click to copy? One of the options will be like edit.
Wow.
So at first I'm like, cool. Like I sometimes use like words, I kind of, especially if you're speaking to someone like in a more sensitive nature, you're like, oh, I should have used this word. I'm going to like edit it to say, like I wrote it and then I write it back. I'm like, I should have said like happy to instead of like excited to or something.
But how do you know when they've seen it?
Well, that's why I kind of felt like in my head, I'm like, you got to do it pretty quick. So I've been doing this for like 2 days. And then I'm like, I have Mike doesn't have the new iPhone. So I'm like randomly decide to tell him about this feature. He's like, oh, I don't have this feature. So then I show him on my phone, like I text him and then I edit it. And then on his phone, it pops up, Jordana edited to say.
Yes. Good to know. You're doing a mitzvah. You're telling people.
And I'm like, oh my God, I'm mortified. It said though all the edit that I've done after I've done it to the whole point is that like it was done quickly enough that they didn't. Now I'm like, that's so much worse. Now I seem like this huge loser who's
crazy person,
right? Or like trying intensely to impress them, or like now I'm like going through. I don't even remember everyone I said it to.
Oh no!
I just thought it said like a little edited thing underneath, like an Instagram
no, it's
caption.
in big lights.
Yeah, no, it says like it's a new message.
Oh, they resend it. The new one.
No, it's like instead of a new thing, it says. Okay, so the original message. Say I say, "Hi, Jared, how are you?" And then I'm like, "Oh, I shouldn't have said how are you." So I delete the how are you, and then it'll say. Jordana edited to delete the how are you.
So it tells them exactly what you took
what
out?
you edited.
Oh, no. This defeats the whole purpose.
It's a nightmare.
So there will be people, and this is what happens with new technology. Like there's people like that get fucked over by it.
I'll show you.
So there's going to be people that will be like, go fuck yourself. And then they go, oh no, you know what? I'll take it back. How was your day? And then it'd be like, Jordana edited go fuck yourself to how was your day? And then that person is walking around being like, hey, you didn't get my text. They're like, you told me to go fuck myself. So they don't even know.
Right. I didn't know. And then I'm like, oh my God, if I had known this, I wouldn't have edited anything.
Did you go back to the people that you edited on?
What does it say on yours?
All right, let me see. All right.
Mine, it just says, hey, and it says edited a little bit underneath.
It says, hey, how are you? Edited to, hey. Oh my God. This is
mortifying.
A disaster.
Mortifying.
Well, this is, I mean, you're welcome. This podcast is a gift.
If I were, because I feel like people would probably use that the most when you're single and you're in the beginning stages of texting, you're like constantly second guessing everything that you're texting. So I feel like if I hadn't known and I was single, I would be texting a guy and then be like, actually, I feel like I shouldn't have used that word. That was like too enthusiastic. Let me delete that. Did you guys know that this was a thing?
Sean knew.
I didn't even know you could edit text. I'm so far.
It's very new.
Green text always gonna say edited.
Well, I'm looking at it right now. Hey, how are you? Edited to hey.
I'm mortified.
Look at Aunt Jordana to the rescue, to the You Up listenership. That is mortifying. I mean, also like
You're
if you wrote
for me.
if you wrote hey exclamation point and you were like really like in your head, and then you edited it to just hey regular. It's like edited to hey. Like what?
This seems crazy that they wouldn't be like telling you exactly how that was gonna work.
That is crazy.
Yeah.
This is, you're like Paul Revere.
I mean,
The texts warn you. The texts warn you. Know, what would it be? The edit is coming. The edit is coming. Make sure you don't edit. It's gonna tell whoever you're telling.
Yeah, it's not. You remember in the beginning of Instagram stories, people didn't know, like they thought if you screenshotted it,
it would show the screenshot,
right, which isn't the case. But that's better than the other way around.
No, the other way around.
Know.
We'd have mayhem in the streets, fires. We wouldn't. You think the country's divided now?
Seriously.
You think we got problems
like
voting now?
Snapchat best friends.
Snapchat best friends. I mean, this happened with the iPad connected to your phone. A lot of divorces around that area. I would love to see the graph of like iPads come out and then like 3 months later, all these divorces happen because
the cloud.
The cloud would connect your iPad to your phone, and someone is out at night being like, "Hey, baby," had to get away from the wife and kids, and then the wife is at home being like reading it on the iPad while reading like some story to the kid. You know,
it's a nightmare. Yeah.
The son's like, "Elmo, wait, Dad's texting." Can't wait to see those hot titties. Sees it on the iPad. Yeah, this is
messed up. Yeah,
This is why I talk about this a lot. This is why our generation, millennials getting canceled by Gen Z is so fucked up.
Because they know more.
Gen Z was brought up with all of these like things you're told about before. The idea of like being on social media to us, we're like, fuck it.
Right.
We used to Facebook accounts. What am I gonna call myself on? I had a friend who's like his name on Facebook was like Duty McFartstein.
Then he applied for college.
And then he's like,
why am I not getting into any
what's
schools?
going on? No, I mean, like we were in college when it came out. So Duty McFartstein then goes and
why am I not getting a job?
Yeah, wait. Well, we looked through your history online, and there's a lot of Duty McFartstein things out there.
Captain Snacks.
Yeah, and the Gen Z kid who's in college is like, no, I have to have they know to be professional in this world. To us, it was the internet. Yeah. It was fucking nerds and losers.
Just nerds and losers and teachers.
Yeah, who's going to see this? Yeah. I'll be Duty McFartstein on Facebook. Who would know? Now that's your name your whole life.
And you're known as the person who didn't realize people can see that you edit your texts.
Right. This is why millennials should be given kind of a pass on a lot of things. We are the test generation.
Or something pops up to tell you the ins and outs of the new feature that you're about to use.
Right. Before it should have had that screen.
Yeah.
Before, here are the new features. It was probably on the terms and conditions thing that you just clicked. Like yeah, no fucking problem.
That, right.
You know, like, here are the new features. 1, if you edit a text, we're going to let that person know.
In a specifically new text.
Yeah, because then you go to the phone, you go, oh, they're texting again. Edited to, hey.
I'm so embarrassed, and I actually only did this for like one day.
There's someone out there who's like, you can go fuck yourself, and you're never going to see me again, and fuck off, and tell your mom, I think she's a fat piece of shit too. And then they go, you know what? You got ahead of yourself. Thank God for this edit button. And then they hit the edit to, I love your mom. It's like, you've just saved live.
Thank you.
Mine, specifically.
You're welcome to the audience. But anyway, I wanted to, we have a few announcements. Do you want
we got a sweepstake.
Yeah.
I before, on a more somber note, on a less Duty McFartstein note, a friend of mine passed away recently, and he's a big, huge part of the Comedy Cellar community. And Steve King was a wonderful, wonderful guy, and someone that I saw every single night I was at the Cellar. If you've been to the Comedy Cellar in New York, you probably, were one, he was the head of security there, so you're probably protected by him in some way, and also just, taken care of in a great, he was the nicest guy in the world. And literally saw him Monday night, and he had passed away the next morning, and it was like such a sad, and we're all feeling it. So there's a GoFundMe set up. If you can give, if you can share it, whatever it is, it's in the description of this episode, and he's got kids and a wife and all that stuff. So it's just super sad,
No, that's awful.
It's like, and it's weird because you go out into the great big world and you meet all these people and you become friends. You never know who's going to be there one night, and then, so.
Yeah, and if you've been to the Comedy Cellars, I'm sure a lot of you have, since Jared's there, and a lot, just great comedy shows. I'm sure you guys have seen him. So
just a wonderful person, and good dad, good husband, all that stuff. And so it's so sad. So I wanted to make sure that we were a part of helping out and sharing the link. So in the description of this episode is a GoFundMe that so many comedians have been sharing. If you follow any comics, it's on their stuff right now. So I wanted to make sure that we put that out there. So, but otherwise, we have other announcements.
Yes.
It's our 5-year anniversary coming.
We're about to be 5 years old. It's a big one.
Wild.
Big one.
Wow, we can finally dress ourselves up as a lobster in a pot.
Yes. We're going. Maddie and Sean will take us. We'll dress us up and take us.
Take us out for candy.
To ice cream.
Yeah. We're doing something big here.
You got your boogie jar. You are 5 years old.
I got my boogie jar.
Or we're getting you one.
I thought we were gonna have a boogie jar.
Maddie, where's the boogie jar?
Mixed opinions of the boogie.
Some people are not interested.
People aren't interested in the boogie jar. Okay, thank you. All right,
I guess we'll see.
Guess we're not getting a boogie jar.
But yeah, so we have a special 5-year anniversary sweepstakes
Yes.
because we know there's nothing more than what you guys would enjoy than a individual 10-minute Zoom
Right.
with Jared and I.
We can talk, chit chat. You can have, and listen, the Zoom. If it's you and a couple,
Bring your
other
friends
people,
if
bring
you
your
want,
friends,
yeah.
whatever it is. We're gonna do a 10-minute Zoom with you. All you have to do to enter is screenshot.
You listening to one of the benefits with episode or some form of proof that you are a benefits subscriber. And that can be you listening to the episode or you taking a screenshot showing that you're a subscriber on Spotify or Apple, whichever one you choose, and email that to sweeps@betches.com to be entered to win this Zoom conversation with Jared and I.
Yeah, we love that.
Yeah.
And what a great thing. And if you're not a benefit subscriber, subscribe and then send us the proof that you're a subscriber so you can enter into the sweepstake. All you got to do is go search You Up with Benefits on Spotify or just hit that button on the Apple podcast app. Anything else going on? I listened to last week's.
Oversharing?
I listened. It was great.
Thank you.
I refrained from texting you. Sometimes I text you throughout my whole listening experience. And
No,
I
I appreciate that. As long as I remember. Sometimes it's like I don't fully remember what. Because it's like this, when we record this show, the second we leave, I have amnesia.
Right.
And someone's like, that thing you said, you guys should totally do that. I'm like, what thing?
Right.
When did we say that?
I don't. Exactly. It's not like anyone knows I would never date a teacher. But I...
That wasn't me. Yeah.
Who? No, I agree. So that's why I refrained, because I was like, I don't want to but I fully enjoy listening to you and Dr. Naomi.
Thank you.
So many of these issues that people send into your show and that show they're so difficult.
Right.
Well,
that's why I like to bring in a professional. So it's not because they're very
you
serious. A lot
added
of times they're very serious.
You added a pre-roll. Noticed.
That says that
this is not a replacement for an actual medical professional.
Of course.
And I was like, oh shit, it's getting real here. That was my first thought.
I mean, yeah, this is a nice therapy booster, but I wouldn't say it should be the main event.
I'm trying to think of what was the one that really got me thinking. It's always the should I be triggered part of the show.
Oh, the triggered? Some people think that's insensitive, but
why?
Because you're ranking other people's triggers. I've gotten some messages about that.
I don't believe. I mean, you've really gone down the rabbit's hole of looking for ways to be triggered. Yeah. They're triggered by you ranking triggers.
Very ironic.
Now we sound old. So there was one with the anniversary triggering.
Yeah.
Which I loved the way you and your sister talked about it.
Okay.
Because it was like, she told him she wants a gift, and then he was an idiot, and then you were telling him to lie, which was hilarious.
It's late. Yeah, well, I mean, I think a white lie is okay every now and then.
Right.
Maybe that's an unpopular opinion.
But then your sister brought up the point of him not lying kind of shows that he thinks this is the right thing to do. Oh, I got you a gift. It'll be here next week.
Right.
It was just an interesting talk.
Sometimes lying means you care more.
Yeah, and that's, or you're just not an idiot, I don't know, because I'm not a gift giver in that way or care that much about gift or receiving gifts, but it's just interesting the idea of how much can you change someone?
Right.
And that's hard. It was a great episode.
And,
so
and you
everyone
got
should listen.
shows, right?
If you're in Boston this weekend, Saturday, I'm doing a 7:45 or 7:37 something. Don't quote me. And then there's a late show. The early show's sold out.
It's too
The
late for you.
You're done. But the idea that you can't come to the late show on a Saturday, like
That's even better. You get dinner before.
dinner before, you'll be done by 10:30, 11. Like, get out of here. Like, someone was like, "Is there any for the early show?" I'm like, "What are you, a fucking loser? You can't go out till 11 on a Saturday night." And also, if you can't, then you can't. It's okay. It's okay. I don't need you to come. I don't know.
No one loves their fans more than Jared.
Right. Well, I talk to them realistically.
Yeah, no,
I'm speaking
Saturday
to you
night,
as a human.
what time is the
What are you,
late
a
show?
fucking loser? You know?
What time is late show? 9:30.
At the latest,
That's
I don't
the
even
perfect. You get dinner at 7:30.
Right.
Leisurely, done by 9.
Right.
Head over.
You
You're
can
ready
get
to go.
your, cheesesteak, wontons, whatever garbage they serve in Boston, and then you can come. There's something about they serve spring rolls at every restaurant. There was a
Even
period.
non-Chinese restaurants.
It's crazy. Every restaurant in Boston, for some reason, got really into having like spring rolls with different things in them.
okay.
like,
so it's like
oh,
the
we-
charcuterie with the first spring rolls.
Right. They do. Oh, we do a cheesesteak spring roll. We do a buffalo chicken
Is that like
spring
a
roll.
pastry or something? Or like
Yeah, I don't know. I was
or
like,
a
this is-
calzone.
yeah, this is the level of culinary skill we have here. Like I'm from this town. Class it up.
There you go. You heard it here.
Yeah, so
Boston, get your
jaredfree.com,
shit
Boston.
together.
Miami for Thanksgiving, Virginia Beach, come. jaredfree.com, assemble the group chat. Boston's going to be this weekend. That's going to be like I'm really coming in with special taping energy. I'm doing all the
I
material
love
from the
that.
special.
He's getting ready for you in New York.
Cha-cha-cha, 1 2 1 2. I'm in the...
One more thing for Plug City. We've got new DST hosts. It's a great new show. We really freshened it up. We've got new hosts Remy and Emily, and you can listen to them every Sunday and Thursday on Diet Starts Tomorrow, anywhere you get your podcast. I'm sure Jared will be a guest.
I'm taking some time
Pretty
off.
soon.
The villagers revolted on me on Facebook.
I saw that thread. I actually feel like it was like one person who revolted against you, and the rest of the people were like, "What the fuck are you talking about?
Right. It was
we love
very-
Jared."
Well, I'm in the Facebook
And then
fan
I saw
group.
you got involved, which was also very funny.
Yeah, because I was like, like I'm literally I go on Facebook like once a month, and then the first thing that comes up is like, so and so commented in Diane Starts Tomorrow. Doesn't Jared complain too much or something like that? I was like, that's what I do.
That was the original, the OP as they call them, the original poster. But
Yeah.
every single other person was like, "Shut the fuck up!"
Right? People were very nice.
to you, not
to me. To me, yeah, that person. I think on the internet you only hear the bad and you only hear the people who
It's
agree
all
with you.
anyone remembers.
Right.
but,
So I only hear the bad, and then I'm sure that person, I want to take their face and smush it into the people that disagreed with them. But then she'll only see the person that's like, "You're right," the 1 out of 1,000. That's like,
Right.
Jared is a little complaining. Really? Am I?
Well, now that they know you're in there,
Yeah.
maybe they'll-
Oh, I'm in there. I'm watching everything.
this is like it's like realizing that you edited a text,
Right.
and someone can see it.
Her face. Oh my God, he's here.
He's here.
The murder's in the house.
It's like sending the screenshot to the person you screenshotted. Oops.
Don't you think Jared's a little complaining? Hey, I'm here.
Hi.
Hi.
It's me, actually. All right, let's get into our
What are we
show.
talking about today?
We're talking about people who break up but still live together. I'll read it. Hi, J&J. I broke up with my boyfriend yesterday. We've been together 5 years.
I just imagine her. And we're done. Turning onto her computer to type out an email to us.
That is a quick turnaround.
Right.
Yeah. Well, clearly, okay, if you do the breaking up, as we know, the person who does the breaking up has been thinking about it for quite some time,
Absolutely.
especially in 5 years. We've been together 5 years and live in a small 550 square foot apartment together with our dog.
Oy!
The breakup is amicable, and it was a long time coming, to be honest. It was
For
clear-
them. I don't know
As
if
opposed
the
to-
boyfriend
yeah.
might be disagree. Yeah.
It was clear we were friends at this point and nothing more, so I know this was the right decision for us. The problem is that a clean break will be impossible for us. With the rental market how it currently is, neither one of us can really afford to rent on our own, despite him being an accountant and me a lawyer. He has no debt and would be in a much better position to find somewhere to rent. But with my student loan debt from law school, I would really struggle. Neither of us have family to lean on either. His family's in Europe, and mine is a 15-hour drive away. We've discussed continuing to live together until the rental market cools down. My question is this: how do we navigate cohabiting post-breakup, and how do we avoid falling back into the routine of a relationship when it's time to move on from? Thanks for all your help.
Here's her biggest mistake. I noticed it, right? The answer's in the email.
Let's hear it.
As we've said many times.
Yes.
She's speaking in we terms and not me terms.
Right.
It's over, baby girl. Over. It's done. You're not we. It's not us.
It's the right decision for us.
Right decision for us. How do we navigate cohabitate? No. How do I get out of this situation? Right?
Yeah. I mean, that was my immediate thing. She's like, how do I make this living together thing work? You don't.
No. Get the fuck
Get the hell
out.
out. What are you talking
The house
about?
is on fire.
Right.
You know,
what are you talking about? Make it work. I understand, like, that's maybe that sounds like a privileged way to speak, but get a roommate.
Get a roommate. Get someone to take over your lease.
Take a loan.
Take
whatever you need to do.
Get the fuck out of there. There's no reason. Also, she's saying this from the position it sounds like, based on the way it's written, amicable, us, whatever. She's cool with the breakup. You don't know how that other person's feeling, and usually they're not feeling great and looking to try and make it work, trying to get back with you, or they're just hurting.
Yeah.
So you're in a
out of there.
550 square foot apartment with the dog. That ain't the dog touching your ankle. That's him with his boner.
Right. And
that's him trying to be like, we've done it before. And then you back into this fucking thing that you don't. A breakup, you got to get away. Get away from them, social media wise, physically, mentally, all this shit.
Right.
And this is all.
And she says he has no debt and be in a much better position to find somewhere to rent. Not your problem. This is your problem.
No, yeah.
She broke up with him.
And again, this is a 5-year relationship, so she's used to this. I understand why she's like, us, we.
Right.
That's what it's been for 5 years. It's over. So she needs to go and she needs to, first of all, air mattress. Buy one.
Go stay with a friend.
Stay with a friend. Get out of the same bed.
Yeah, that's crazy.
It's all of this is nutso, but I also understand. I mean, an hour after we broke up yesterday, and she's like, "What should we do?" I empathize with her, but like, this is us giving you the hard shot of penicillin. Like, we're both saying the same thing. Like, I wrote that down. I wrote I literally have written, get the fuck out. You stupid idiot. No,
Yeah, no, it didn't make any sense. She was like, so clearly I can't leave. Like, no.
No. Clearly you should leave.
Also, if you're going to break up with someone, and she says like it's amicable, if you're going to break up with someone, you have to figure that out before you leave.
Right.
Before you do it. I think it's the responsibility of the person who's breaking up with the person to figure out the living situation on their behalf.
It goes...
Maybe give them some options.
I've done this thought process.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've had this conversation. It was fucking brutal.
Was it... Well, you have
now
less debt, and we would be in a much better position to find somewhere to rent.
No, it's not we break up, now what?
Right.
No, you gotta... This is
You
why
need to
breakup.
leave.
This is
Yeah.
why when a breakup is explained from someone, it always sounds bad. And their stuff was packed out. They had a whole plan to get the fuck out of here. Yeah,
That's nice.
yes,
Yeah.
they were doing the best to make this as fucking easy as possible on everyone involved, especially themselves. So like, I mean, again, privileged. Let's acknowledge.
Sure.
Like, I was willing to take a sack of
Pay
money.
your way out of it.
I would have taken a sack with a big money sign on the top and poured it on them while they rubbed their titties and like they won fucking Price is Right. It would have been, any amount
If
of
that
money.
was all it took. Sure.
Take
Yeah.
it, please.
Okay.
Take more. So that's a place of privilege. But that's the thinking you have to have going in. It might not be money. It might be, okay, the first decision, am I breaking up? Yes. Second decision, what will happen? How will the thread come undone?
Right. You have to step like or think 3 steps ahead.
Right. So then it's like, okay, and again, not we, not his debts.
We are amicable.
Right. I have to either do this, or this. I wrote down sublet, move out, move home, get an air mattress and put it in the living room.
Yeah.
I know it's a studio, but like we got to, and I also wrote this down. She wrote something very specific that is a lesson for life, not just this. I consider it a lesson of life for me.
Okay.
Wait till the market cools down. That is the dumbest thing she's written, but also the most relatable.
I'm going to wait to see what the Fed does with
Right.
interest hikes.
You can't time the market. This is actually a financial advice that's given.
Yes.
When you go into the market, you don't just dump in on one day. You dollar cost average.
Yeah.
So you put in
You win
equal,
some, you lose some.
right, and over the course of time, it brings down what you would have spent because you're not going to go on a high day, you're not going to go on a low day. You're always going to go a little bit in between, and that's kind of the same for a breakup and for how kind of you should move through life a little bit.
Right.
You don't want to just everything happens on one day. No. So I'm breaking up with you, and here's what's going to happen. I'm going to get an air mattress. I'm going to stay here. At the end of the month, I'm able to find a way to like move in with my friend, and that's where I'm going to go for a little bit. And then
I wouldn't even wait till the end of the month. I would go to your friends
whatever.
now.
But whatever it is, have a consistent plan.
Yeah. Her issue is that she didn't plan this out before that.
Right.
Don't break up with someone and then be like, well, what are we going to do? Like,
Huge mistake.
yeah.
But listen, you're here. You listen to us. We're giving this.
Yeah. Hopefully you didn't write this email like 3 months ago.
Right. I'm waiting.
Right? She's just been waiting by her computer.
Let's do some awkward sex. You ready?
Okay.
UUP@betches.com, UUP@betches.com. Keep sending your awkward sex. Are we getting a lot of awkward sex stories? We get a lot, right? We could always use
You could
more
always
of.
use more awkward sex.
Things are funny that are.
This is good to hear. And I don't think they have to be funny. I mean, I don't want them to be I don't want them to be sad. Like, I don't want that. Don't get me wrong. They're
Entertaining. We want them to be entertaining.
thoughtful.
Yes.
Give us something, and I love this imagery.
We'll work with it.
Give us a bone to gnaw on.
Yeah.
This one's got some gnawing.
This is a longer one, yeah.
J&J, shout out for making this journey of dating way more relatable and hilarious. Here's an awkward sex story from when I was studying abroad. Abroad seems to be a place of
To have a lot of awkward sex.
Right.
Yeah.
every Tuesday
Wonder why
night.
that is.
I think language barrier, 1, 2, you're out of your country, so you feel you can do whatever you want. You don't feel like everyone's
Right.
watching you. Things are at different hours of the day.
Mhm. A lot of the times I also think it might be like easier than whatever you went to college. Like the classes are a little bit more of like
Class
a joke
load.
sometimes.
Yeah. I agree with that. I didn't really do, I think also we have a female listenership. I think women go abroad and that's when they feel a little
I'm
sassy.
gonna right. Well, I'm gonna it's my experimental phase.
right. I'm going to have my
Right.
hoe phase while
Right.
I'm in Italia.
I mean, yeah, that's the dream, right?
Right. I want to have my eat, pray, love. Eat my pussy, pray on these titties, and love my asshole.
There you go. That's that's Jared's abroad guide. If anyone wants to know the places to go,
I'm writing a book. How to have fun as a young woman abroad.
there you go.
Eat my pussy.
Okay. I don't like that word.
Pussy?
Yeah.
Vagina?
I guess. Then there's no good. I still don't think I've heard a good word for vagina.
Hole?
No.
Okay. Listen, we're just testing.
Getting
Like-
worse.
Maddie almost left the room. I guess what are the other names? Labes.
Labes. Labes is no. I don't know. If
No.
you guys have a word that you think is a good word,
We have to normalize the vagina.
email it in uup@betches.com. Email what you think the vagina should be called.
It just shows how disgusting men are. Cock, penis,
Yeah.
pee-pee, schlong, dong,
Dick,
dick, hog,
penis,
penis.
penis.
I love penis.
Penis is actually not a bad word.
Penis is a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Okay.
Penis.
Every Tuesday night, my American friends and I would hit the same bar for the drink specials and get pretty drunk. One night early on in our semester, I thought there was a dance circle forming, and so I joined it.
Who does that?
Only to realize later that this was just a group of friends dancing. I The only one random.
That could be like the whole story. I feel
That
like,
is
right?
hilarious.
That's its own story.
Oh,
You think it's a group thing? And you're like, oh,
you guys know each other?
That's a nightmare.
Amigos?
This girl is really friendly.
Right.
She just wants, you know.
Waltzed up? Who's this chick? This is how I met this really hot local guy and all his friends. Oh, so this is great. Maybe people should do this in bars. Just start dancing with circles.
with your group and then see if anyone jumps in.
Right.
Like a horror.
We'll see if create your own horror.
Yeah. See if anyone pops in.
Hot local guy and I danced and kissed that night, then continued to see each other on these weekly bar nights until we started making other plans and dates. In this country, college is obviously cheaper, and most college-age people live with their parents while they go to their school. So the Americans were known for being unsupervised partiers, living in nice apartments since we were somehow saving on tuition by going to school abroad. One night, I was out with him and his friends, who I started to get close with, and one of the girls asked me if I was going to invite him over to stay the night. It had been a handful of dates, bar nights, but we hadn't hooked up yet. He overheard her say that, so then I unsmoothly invited him over. I'd been wanting to do it, but really didn't know how to make the move, and I think he felt the same since he was inviting himself over to mine because he lived with his parents.
Right.
So we were at my place, and my roommate is already home and our room's asleep. I then had the great idea of moving my twin mattress out the slider to the balcony.
I feel like every single person has at one point gotten drunk and decided it would be a good idea to like move a piece of furniture to a better spot.
Right. To go, I'll redecorate now.
Right. I'm going to move this to the balcony.
Right. It's weird. I was bed on the balcony.
I guess she didn't want to have sex next to her roommate.
Right.
I get that.
Instead of, we'll do it in front of the neighbors. We started making out, and he asked if I had ever had sex on a balcony. It's such a dude thing. Yeah. Hey, you ever fucked on a balcony before?
Look just where we are.
Oh. Which I took as a hint as where this was going. But as we're making out, something felt a little off. Like the tempo wasn't quite right, and I noticed he wasn't undressing me. I also started to get self-conscious because I couldn't tell if he was all the way hard. So as a last attempt to try and pick up the heat of this makeout, I upped the tempo and pulled out my best moves. Mine, I don't know, what are your best moves?
I have no idea. I mean, she joins dance circles, so maybe she has moves.
Got some moves. Mind you, everything was still over the pants. Then all of a sudden, I heard him say, "It's done."
It's done.
And I go, "What's done?" And he said, "Are you going to make me say it? I already ejaculated."
Oh my God. Ejaculated is a very unsexy word if we're talking about.
Yeah.
Ejaculated.
Bad words. Ejaculated.
Ejaculated.
Yeah, it's a hard J.
Ejaculated.
I ejaculate. Ugh. I even saying that like
Sounds very clinical.
Yeah, in my head I just hear wah wah.
Yeah.
Speaking of Price is Right. Dun, 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 dun,
yeah, that's especially bad
dun.
for him because he was like, "Have you ever had sex on a balcony?"
He's upping it up.
Well, you're not going to tonight.
Good luck next time. I was so caught off guard and didn't know what to say and stupidly responded, "But we didn't have sex on the balcony." That didn't help. The rest of the night was pretty awkward. He had to go, quote unquote, clean up. Ugh. I had to put my mattress back. Saddest movers ever. Just moving.
I guess I'll go back to sleep with my roommate.
Right. Then we just slept. I had every intention of skipping my 8 a.m. the next morning, but when my alarm went off, I couldn't get out of bed faster, leaving him in the room with my sleeping roommate. We continued talking, but everything was felt a little off for a few days after that. To make things weirder, I was going on a camping trip with his friends that were becoming my friends the coming weekend, and he couldn't go. While on this camping trip, I told the girl I was closest with what happened. She was dating his best friend, and turned out she already knew the whole thing. I guess he confided in his friend and was worried I wouldn't talk to him anymore. Turns out the wicked hot guy was a virgin.
Well, he does live with his parents. So.
Virgin loser. All this seemed really sweet. He helped explain why everything was so weird. It made me want to keep seeing him. The next time I invited him over, he ended up telling me he was a virgin before things got hot. And let me tell you, he clearly did some research after the first attempt. Like he even did the pillow under the hips trick. It ended...
Some Googling.
Right. This guy is Rocky Balboa. He went and found, a trainer. We got to get your hips into it, kid.
Oh, my God.
You can't ejaculate in your pants.
She's softly taking his virginity with the pillow. With the pillow is great.
You're going to put the pillow under the hips. You're going to wow her next time, kid. I'm the trainer.
Is he Italian? Should you be doing an
I'm
Italian
doing
accent?
Mickey.
Oh, okay.
Mickey, because this guy ejaculated his pants. Then he goes home. He trains. He hires a sex trainer.
Yes.
I've built a whole reality.
Love it.
It ended up being very good sex, and we continued to date for the rest of the semester. Wicked Hot Guy went on to become a model and is still, 10 years later, very hot. When I see his professional shirtless pics pop up on my Instagram feed, I smile and chuckle. I think back to that one night that he ejaculated in his... No, I'm kidding. This is me. Thinking back to our fun little thing. Thanks for listening. Visas and V-cards. What do you think? It's a sweet tale. It's a lesson. There's a lesson in this tale.
What's the lesson?
Communication helps sex.
There you go.
I mean, the minute
You
this
should
guy
turn
was
this
like...
into a children's book.
Right. That's right.
Communication helps sex.
Right.
It does. Yeah. If she had told him that from the beginning, they could have worked around it. On
Right.
the balcony.
The minute he tells her, I'm a virgin, he becomes great in bed. There's no coincidence to that.
It's funny. I feel like men have a much bigger issue with taking someone's virginity than women do.
Oh, absolutely.
Like, I feel like men are very not interested in touching that, whereas women are like, great. Less to worry about.
Right.
Like,
You're right.
You know.
Well, there's this thought of attachment with
Right.
men where you're like, oh, and also like, you know, men don't really want to be remembered.
Don't fall in love with me, kid.
Right. You don't want anyone being like, and that fucking loser piece of
Took
shit
my virginity. And then
took my
never-
virginity and then, ejaculated in his
yeah.
pants and left. Right?
Yeah.
Like, you just want to be like...
It's funny because, like, I feel like, and you hear of, like, these, like, old school things where it's like you, like, you know, conquered the virgin or
Right.
something. But I don't know if in practice that actually ever really...
To me, anyone who's like that is like a lack of maturity. If you're like, I gotta
sure.
have a like, I'm like, what are you, 7, dude?
Yeah. I mean,
Like,
I don't see the appeal.
no, I want to be with a veteran. I want to be with someone who's been there before,
Right.
right?
Yeah, I guess women don't mind as much, I think.
Yeah. What would you call this one?
I liked Maddie's name. She had Come So Far
Come So Far is great.
and The Virgin Gary. I thought that was great too.
Did you have any?
No.
Balcony blow up.
I like that.
The Virgin Diaries. Premature moment. The model mess.
Okay.
Because he's a model.
What was the
and he
first one?
made
I
a
like the
mess.
first one.
Balcony blow up.
Balcony blow up is good.
Yeah.
Should have given him a balcony beach, gotten him ready
Right.
to go.
Get him back. That's where you go.
Back on the balcony.
Come on, bring it up. You know, let's start whittling at this penis. Get it going again.
Get back in the game.
Right. Start pumping it up again. What red flag or deal breaker if this happened with you with a guy? Like, here's the thing about premature ejaculation. Let me just tell people. It's not about you.
Oh, I've always been very flattered by premature ejaculation.
I'm always
personally.
thankful for that. Whenever a woman
I'm
goes,
always
yeah, oh my God, no, I'm flattered. I'm like, oh yeah.
No, I'm always
Totally.
like, I mean, it's probably just like a narcissist. I'm like, I'm that hot. Wow.
It's funny.
I did it again.
It,
Didn't even have to do anything. I mean, imagine if
snap
there
your
was.
finger, he comes. You're like, oh, look at that.
Imagine if it were like the other way around, and a woman before she like just by you put your hand on her boob and she came, you'd be
Right.
like, wow, I've got the touch.
I got the. Yeah, I guess I would. You're right.
Yeah.
Because but we hear a lot from like, he can't come. Is it me? And I'm
I
always
mean,
like, no, it's not you.
Yeah.
But it also the other way, it's not as much you too.
Right. Well, and can come and comes too quickly. I think are two different things.
I would rather,
Yeah.
much rather, as a man on like a one night stand, not be able to come
Okay.
than come too quickly.
Too quickly.
There is nothing worse. You have ruined the party. You fucked up on the surprise. You undid the confetti.
I don't know. They're both in their own way. I think they're tough in their own way.
I know that
I find come too quickly more flattering.
I wish that was the case for all. The worst part is like when you're like, especially on like a one night stand or like in a situation
guess,
where like
right,
things are
right.
hot. You're
Yeah.
like, it's hot, it's great. Come on over, and then you're like, get out of those pants, and then, hey, I'm sorry, this never happens. I think
I would love it. I'd be like, that. I guess still got it.
still got it, kid. All right, let's do
it
it.
wouldn't be a deal breaker for me anyway.
Well, that's
What do
nice
you
to
think?
hear.
Yeah.
Then-
I mean, again, if it was every time, I think there would be eventually probably be like a different, we would work on it together.
Right. Well,
But-
I mean, it's the thing for relationship sex. I do
Right.
believe relationship sex is better than single sex because single sex is like, we're guessing here.
Right.
I'm doing what worked on the last one.
Yeah.
So
I mean, should it be flattering? Is my other question, I guess, or it's not? Doesn't really have to. Okay.
I guess it's a little flattering. But I don't think there's this
It's more
like.
about them than about you.
It's definitely more about me. Like this guy's living with his parents. Of course, he's all clogged up.
Right, and he's a virgin.
He's a
Yeah,
virgin. He probably fucking had to throw away those underwear.
yeah. The dream.
That's why when he had to go clean up, it's like, oh, got a mess on aisle 5.
It's also like great if you're like trying to take it slow.
Right.
They
You're
go
like-
down on you, and then you go, and then you're about to, you just touch them, and then they come immediately. You're like, great, we this was just you already got yours.
You go, boink, and then, oh shit!
I guess it's sleep
everywhere.
time. It's time to go to sleep.
Wee 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 wee. Wee 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 wee.
Best.
If you're not watching on YouTube, you're missing out.
yeah, check it out.
I got a
All right.
backwards hat on today because I'm one of those young kids.
Cool kids. Yeah.
Let's do another email.
All right, I'll read it. Hey J&J, my best friends are a couple who met each other at university and I've been their third wheel ever since for about the past 7 years. It's a long time.
Wow.
This was the first and only relationship. This was his first and only relationship and her second relationship, the first being in high school. I don't know why that's relevant. They often take an interest in and offer advice on my dating life. They're just as keen on me getting a girlfriend as I am, so we can go on double dates together. Several times I've asked them to set me up with people they know, not anyone specific, just people they think would be a good possible match. Their response is always that they don't want me to date people they know in case it doesn't work out. I'm a bit frustrated by this. I understand where they're coming from. I've had some relationships end with hurt feelings or awkwardness in the past, but that seems to be the norm, right? I feel like watching me try and fail at relationships on dating apps over the years has made them afraid to set me up with anyone, that it will inevitably end badly. Part of me also thinks that since neither of them has ever used dating apps, they think it's easy to find a quality match there, or think that my lack of success is because of something I'm doing wrong. I've tried explaining to them that dating apps are basically like Facebook Marketplace, where people are often flaky, weird, and often talking to a dozen people at once, and that a setup with a mutual friend would have a much higher chance of going well. I've tried to reassure them that if it didn't work out, I'd owe it to them to end it as amicably as possible. This has not convinced them. How can I convince my friends to set me up with people they know? Or is it a lost cause? For context, I'm a 27-year-old man and I live in a mid-sized city. As someone who is somewhat socially awkward, I've always been most comfortable using dating apps to meet potential partners, although I've also dated people I've met in person through mutual friends before. With girls I've dated, things have lasted 1 to 3 dates, with a few 2 to 3 monthers in the mix, and about 50-50 in terms of who has ended it. And a few of them I've become friends with after a bit of time apart.
I love this that it's from a guy. It's very guy.
That's it.
It's very guy the way he ends it.
No
With-
sign off?
No sign off. Also, the math of it. It's very He's like, I need woman, give me woman. Like it's
Sure.
he doesn't even hear how he sounds.
Yeah, and I'm like he's doing a bit about like why they should set him up because he's trying to explain his way into it.
Right.
Like, no, you don't understand. Like, the dating apps are not that easy. Like, I don't
Right.
think that's why they're not setting you up.
Not at all. And the way you describe them is probably part of the reason they're not setting you up. It's Facebook Marketplace. Everyone's awkward. Everyone else is the problem but
Everybody
him.
writes, I'm also.
Yeah.
I'm somewhat socially awkward.
But that's not seen as a bad thing for him.
Right.
You know, it's just this is who I am, and then they're awkward on the apps. I think you have to be first of all, I understand why your friends don't want to set you up just generally because it's hard to
Right.
you don't want to ruin what you got. Everyone's about their own comfortability, and they don't want to ruin the friend group, but also they don't want to. It's just you don't think of people that way.
I think sometimes there's probably a few different reasons here. One is they've tried to set him up without telling him. The people that they've tried to set him up with weren't interested, but they're not going to tell him that.
That's the hard truth. He needs to hear that.
That's
right?
potential
That's
option.
Well, that's not just a potential option. That's probably what's going on.
Yeah, I mean, if I had a friend who asked me to set them up and I threw them out to a few people I thought might be a good match for them, and they were all like, not for me, I wouldn't go back and say that. Everyone I wanted to set you up with is not interested. I would say...
They all said you were ugly.
Right.
I'm sorry.
I wouldn't say that.
No.
Yeah, I would say, I'd rather not
Right.
set you up.
They all thought you looked like you ejaculated early in your pants. They said you look like that. We don't... They don't know.
This is for women too.
Right,
I think,
right.
I've got do you know what I mean? If someone's not setting you up, could be a few things. And if someone's not setting you up and you ask them to set you up, it's because they don't think that anyone they know would actually get along well with you. Or they maybe floated you to them. They weren't interested. So they're not going to set you up with them.
And again, based on what I just said, they're going to make life comfortable for themselves. They're not going to say to you, they don't want to date you.
Right. I wouldn't say that to someone.
I wouldn't say that to someone either. I'm not going to do that. But I think the other thing to acknowledge is the way he wrote this email. I've asked them, they're worried in case it won't work out. I understand where they're coming from. I've had some relationships end with hurt feelings or awkwardness in the past, but that's the norm, right? The idea that it's the norm, no. And then they write, I feel like watching me try and fail at relationships on dating apps over the years has made them afraid to set me up with anyone. That it will inevitably end badly. Yeah.
Right.
The idea that you've given into relationships don't work out and they hate each other. That's the norm, right? No, that's not the norm. The norm isn't, I hate that person. The norm isn't anger or,
I think that the norm might be a hurt feeling.
Sure.
A temporary hurt feeling.
But the norm isn't to let it drag and talk shit about them.
Extremely awkward and weird. Yeah.
Right. And they've probably watched you have these things. And listen,
that's another option too. Yeah.
That's another option. You have to consider yourself. Right. I'm not saying that this person's doing things wrong, but don't be unaware of who you are and how you act.
Yeah. And I think that's a good thing. If you're actually if you actually think this could be a possibility and you want to have a real conversation with your friends, you could say, does something about the way that I date kind of make you feel like you're more hesitant to set me up with someone? I think that's a fair question. If they're actual friends, she said he's been the third wheel for 7 years. They're actual friends. I wouldn't voluntarily say that to someone if I thought that they were dating in a way that I didn't think was particularly helpful.
Right.
But if they asked me, if they were like, is there something about maybe the way I'm dating that makes you more hesitant to set me up? I would answer truthfully if they had asked me.
That's an easier way to answer that. You're totally right. Because then you would go, okay, this person wants to have a conversation that is editorial.
Right.
And
they're open to that. They're not going to be mad at me saying that because they're being a little more introspective.
And I would say that this guy isn't introspective. And you said something very specific in the beginning. The emailer says, this is his first and only relationship and her second relationship, the first being in high school. You were like, why is that important information? It's important information to the emailer. They're writing it because they don't trust their friends' opinions on modern dating, on relationships. They're saying because they met in high school or because they met in college or because they've been together and they didn't have to deal with the world that they deal with, that they don't get anything. So that's why he doesn't trust them for an opinion on his dating life. So he's fucked. He isn't being introspective.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying.
Right.
He's just saying what's wrong with them.
Right.
What's wrong with them that they won't set me up?
What's wrong with you, buddy? No.
Yeah. Because I do think most people, if they had someone good in mind to set up their friend that they actually thought acted like a great catch, they would probably do that. If someone came along and they were open to it as well.
And there's another route this guy could go. who's the friend you're talking about? You know, take a chance. Be a little vulnerable. Like, hey, your friend so-and-so, what's their deal?
Right. Why do you think you'd be a good match for them?
Right. And then at least you go, instead of,
I'll
you have
take
any
anyone.
friends?
Do you know any females with a pulse that might be interested in a man?
That like a premature ejaculator? You know, like, yeah, that's kind of, you know, there's a little too much of like, and I understand this as a single person, we become annoying. We're annoying because we go, I'd love to be fixed up. And then someone comes to you and goes, you gotta meet Rachel.
And
then you go, let me see some pictures. And you're like, oh, you just said you want to be fixed up. And you go, yeah, but I want to be fixed. I want to know what I'm getting into. And then they show you a picture. You go, and now you're the annoying. Like, who are you?
I don't think that person's annoying. Personally, I think that's great. The worst person is like, I don't know. Like, I'll get back to you in a couple weeks.
Right.
Maybe.
Give me a yes or no.
Let me see if I, like how this thing goes. I think that someone who says not my type, nothing wrong with that.
I wish I said not my type to someone recently, and they were like, "Just come on, just go."
Well, then you know it's more
like,
about. That's what I'm saying. Then you know it's more about them than it is about you.
Yeah, there's something else afoot.
Because it's kind of like the whole thing is that you want to be like additive to both people, right? But if you're why would you want to set a friend of yours up with someone who didn't want to go, but you convinced them to go?
I gotta go on this date because I gotta make sure it does feel like such a waste of your life.
Totally. If someone says not my type, I immediately drop it.
Right.
I think is the move.
Not my type is it's such a hard thing to say.
I don't think it's that hard.
I don't think it's
because it's also because sometimes someone will say not my type, and then someone else will say not my type about them. I don't think it's it's a type.
I think it's a hard thing for people to believe. Because you could be like, this person, I want to be with them. And that's why I'm setting them up with you. And then they go, that's not my type. And you go, how could it not be your type? What are you type? And you go, and then you find out, like, you know that everyone has a type. Everyone's got something that they go, you need excitement to create a connection.
I agree. Not to go just because someone like you feel guilty saying no. I think that's not an exciting date. That's why I have a track record of 0 marriages for all my setup.
I'll get you there, Jordana, one day.
I'll find you one.
Find me
I'll
the
find
one.
you one.
Listen, we're very excited for our special guest. We're going to play some games, but we have Fortune Feimster coming on. Fantastic comedian, Netflix special that's out right now. You can watch it. I give my stamp of approval. That's right, you heard it.
Oh, wow, the Freed stamp of approval.
Freed stamp. I don't just give that thing out, okay?
Stamp.
There's the stamp.
There we go. Maybe we can get a graphic in there. We'll be right back.
And we are back. Hilarious comic, very special guest. New special out right now called Good Fortune. Fortune Feimster, thank you for coming on.
Oh, thanks for having me. This is awesome.
So pumped to have you. We're going to play some Red Flag Deal Breaker.
All
We are. But first, it's a dating and relationship podcast.
Yeah.
Listen to your special last night. So funny. Everyone who listens to this podcast is going to love it.
Oh, I hope so.
And I love the story of you proposing to your wife.
Yeah.
It was like
nothing
perfect.
went right. The story hopefully is perfect, but what happened was not perfect. It was everything that could go wrong.
The story,
kept going wrong.
the storytelling was perfect.
Yeah,
Yes,
it was. I thought I was gonna be so romantic and really nail it, and just one thing after another kept going wrong.
Well, it was nice to hear about it from. I got married last year, so I got engaged a couple years.
Yeah.
And it was nice to hear it from the other side, because as the person getting proposed to, I'm just like judging all the different
Yeah, right.
Not at the other side of all the work that goes into it and the things,
Yeah, because you just have to look surprised, like, oh, I had
Exactly.
no idea, and then hopefully say yes. And then I got to and I don't think people had seen it from a female perspective of someone doing the asking as well, and thinking about things like candles and.
Well, it still sounded like you thought through a lot.
I tried
more than the average person.
I tried, but you do sort of think that it's gonna be like what you see on Instagram or Pinterest, all these beautiful photos, and this is like here's the truth behind those photos.
Was she surprised?
I think she knew it was coming, but because I was just acting weird the whole weekend. But
Her nails done?
yeah, I think her nails were done. But I think she thought I was going to propose at dinner, which would have horrified her because she did not want to be proposed to in public. And the waiter kept asking several times, actually, if she wanted a dessert, not just once. I had to streamline it for the story. But so she kept thinking, am I supposed to order dessert? Am I going to like choke on a ring? And so she was starting to get a lot of anxiety. So it didn't happen at dinner.
And I agree with her. I think the public proposal is very anxiety ridden.
Yeah,
so.
she did not want anybody looking at her in that moment. So
Not at a baseball game on the
No.
Jumbotron.
She don't want to be on a kiss cam, nothing.
It's funny you pick out the things from the special, like
That
that's
relate
what
to me,
that relate to you,
Yeah.
because we both watched the special, like, and it is funny, like, and everyone should go watch it. Great date night, great night in the
right.
couch. Netflix, it's out right now. Good fortune. The idea of being each other's type.
Yeah.
When you talk about, that your wife usually goes with a certain type of woman, and you maybe present as that type of
Yeah.
woman, and then you're not. I like, because that happens a lot where people, especially from the women that write in, they're like, not my type, but I'm going to give it a chance.
Right.
Like, is there a point where like that works into the relationship where you want to be their type, or
Yeah. I mean, I think you do have to give somebody a chance because you aren't necessarily what meets the eye. I feel like people are more nuanced than that. There's not like one type of person anymore. We come from so many different backgrounds, have so many different experiences that like, yeah, I might have like these broad shoulders and like to wear jeans and t-shirts, but I'm not the one that's wanting to kill the spiders,
Right.
I'm not that girl.
Yeah.
But I definitely, like, if you were to see me walk up, I get called sir a lot, and but I'm moving my wrists around like
Well, you talked about the Home Depot, and it
Yeah.
was like you getting approached at Home Depot, and like you say you go, someone comes up to you and goes, "What's hey dude?"
Yeah, where are the nails? And I really am like, I'm here for cleaning products.
Right.
I don't know. I'm not that I'm cleaning. I'm not good at that either. But yeah, I'm rarely doing the butch stuff.
Well, I think a lot of guys, they're all type right away. Like, don't give the. I was thinking about this yesterday, like, because I was on someone's Instagram stories and they were talking about like, should I give the guy another? It was a woman asking a woman, should I give the guy another chance?
Yeah.
And I kept thinking of it from what I like hearing. I wasn't into you at first, and then on the 14th date, you checked a lot of boxes.
You
Like,
might.
Some people's personalities come through.
If you felt like it was someone who was like,
out of my league, I
maybe,
guess.
yeah, you'd be like,
Right.
that's why, I mean, isn't that why people like lie about their height and stuff on the dating apps? Is because they're like, once I get in front of them,
Yeah, once they hear my
it's gonna
zingers,
be a whole...
they're not going to care that I'm 5'3".
Right.
or get hoodfish. Isn't that why people hoodfish?
They hoodfish. I would say
Right.
the hoodfish instead of catfish, like they live in a different neighborhood that you thought.
Oh, gotcha.
Right. They live in Hoboken. You're like,
Yeah.
ugh, I would have never.
You're never going to go that far.
No.
Well, with guys, your type, I thought it was just like, oh, there's boobs. Great.
That's pretty much
So it
describes it.
starts.
Like
Boobs.
boobs. That's
Sweet.
I actually say that on the first date. They get there and I go, boobs, sweet.
Boobs.
Yeah.
We can work with this.
Yeah, this is okay. Halfway there, turn around, little twirlsy. I guess like I don't know. Because I go on the apps and I'm very visual.
Yes.
Oh, imagine that. I got
Right.
visual.
Right.
You're the first guy I've
Yeah.
met like that.
Exactly. So I'm like all these other idiots, and we're sitting there like boobs, ass.
Boobs.
Okay, but like, and then you go, well, I don't know, because guys get asked their type a lot,
Yeah.
and I when I heard you talk about on the special, and just like I just thought it was so interesting, the idea of like, well, it isn't my type, but it is. Like, we fell in love, that type of thing.
Yeah.
And I don't know if I could get even on the first date.
How did you guys
go
meet?
Physical first, right? You go physical,
Right.
and then you think about the personality.
Right.
So then that has to evolve. We met at Gay Pride in Chicago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. So we were not obviously either of us expecting to meet anyone significant at a gay pride. That's usually where people get hammered and have a good time for the
Were
weekend.
you on a float?
No, I wish. That would have been fun.
Like-
we were 2 floats
Yeah.
passing by.
Looking across. What?
Hey, you're pretty.
Yeah.
No, it truly wasn't a parking lot. There was this
A parking lot of gay pride. This sounds like a Republican commercial. This is how they meet. They're in the parking lot. Like,
hide your parking lot. Yeah, well, it was like a party. They like
okay.
they like
Parking lot party.
commandeered a parking lot to have a party. And had like bands and DJs and stuff, and I was going to announce like one of the performers, and just was watching some of the entertainment. And she walked up with a friend. It's like really, truly one of those coming out of nowhere moments that people say can happen, and I never thought in a million years would.
and you live in LA, and where did she live at
She
the
was
time?
living in Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah,
wow.
so we hit it off right away, and kind of knew there was something more there, and ended up dating long distance for a whole year.
We get asked about long distance a lot. What's
do?
the
It's
what's the
hard.
secret? What helped you in long distance?
Oh man, it's really hard. We both at the end of the year were so tired because I'm traveling for stand up,
Right.
and she's a kindergarten teacher, and so she was like leaving school at 4 p.m. on a Friday and rushing to the airport.
Oh my.
Either meeting me on the road or in LA, and then I would come there in between traveling for stand up. And at the end of the year, we both were just like depleted, like loved each other and knew that this was something significant, but it's hard.
How did you decide who was going to be like moving?
Well, I don't know. I guess we kind of thought I was filming stuff at that point in LA, and there was a lot of stuff happening. Like my career was crazy and wild, and it just, I don't remember how it came up, but it just was like came up that she would be the one that moved. Cause I think because there's no filming in Chicago, there's like 3 shows. And Shameless was already taken. They had all their people, like 17 members of the cast.
Chicago Hope is
Yeah,
over.
I couldn't be on the Chicago Hope. So it was
Called
kind
Dick
of like,
Wolf, and you're like, come on,
Come
get some
on.
ideas. Yeah.
I got a pretty girl here in Chicago. He's like, no. So yeah, we kind of had to make that decision because it was either like, it was weird. We were talking about last night. It was either we're gonna move in together or break up, because she had to go back to teaching. She didn't want to leave mid-school year,
Right.
so it'd be
a big
another
move,
whole
yeah.
year till we figured it out. So we kind of had to be like, this is it. We gotta decide now. And she made the leap.
I think that's great. I feel like that's how you must have had in your head when she did decide to move out there, that you were like, this is going to be like the one. This is going to be like something like
I mean, that was the hope. We
super
both had
serious,
that, yeah.
right? Because otherwise, I feel like then you're like the asshole who has someone move their whole life for you.
I thought
right?
that
Yeah.
too. I think we both got really nervous, I think, driving out there, and weren't really saying it to each other that we had these.
A lot riding on this.
Yeah. Like, oh, this is going to work out, right? And, for me, it was, I hope I haven't ruined this person's life. I hope everything's, because you don't know how you're going
Right.
to be when you live together.
Right.
I know she's hoping, like, I hope I didn't just like leave my job and my friends for some a-hole, you
Yeah.
know, and so we both had all these fears and just weren't saying it, and then I think it finally starts to come out that we have these things, and then as soon as we got to the house and settled in, it just sort of was like, okay, we can do this,
Okay.
and it felt good like right away.
That's
So
great.
it was easy living together, but
Yeah.
Especially when I feel like if you move long distance with someone, you kind of know within like 10 days.
Yeah.
A horrible idea.
Get out.
or-
She's all calling, can I get my job back?
well, there's listener. We get these emails a lot. Like a lot of the things you're talking about are things we get asked about. You're
Yeah.
living this situation. What's the hardest part about having someone move to you? Did she have friends there? Did she have
No.
like you have a group there, I'm sure. And
Yeah.
especially because I visited LA. LA more than New York. New York, you walk outside in the streets, you're
Yeah.
a part of the madness. The day kind of flies by. I
Yeah.
feel like when I go to LA, everyone has their pods,
Yeah.
their groups.
Yeah, yeah.
They're very insular. It doesn't feel like you could meet someone new. It's got to be hard to
Yeah.
bring someone into that world.
She definitely had the hardest transition than me, because my life was there, my
Right.
friends were there, so she was the one taking all the risk.
Right.
100%. She had to give up a lot to come. And it wasn't easy. LA, like you said, it's so difficult to meet people. I had a hard time moving there. I say everyone needs like 2 to 3 years. You're gonna like kind of hate it at first. You're not gonna really have friends, and it's lonely. And it really did work like that for her. It was a couple years before it started feeling like home. Luckily, she started making some good friends, but it took a while.
Right.
And I know that was a tough transition for her. Now, luckily, she really likes LA a lot and has found her groove and stuff. But yeah, I imagine that had to have been a really difficult decision for her.
Were there changes that you had to make?
Not as many as her, you
But
know.
for her, like, was there something where you're like, all right, I gotta make sure I bring her. Like, let's have a welcome party with the friends. Let's, let's
I
play.
like
Do some team building activities.
I definitely had a trust fall as soon as she walked in the door. I was like, I got you. Come
Right.
on.
Who's catching me? That's your new best friend.
Do you feel guilty going out with your friend if she's you know, sitting home alone with no, nothing
Yeah, you had
else
to
going
figure
on?
out that
Yeah.
dynamic too,
Right.
because especially when there are two women, it's just different. It's not like we're gonna go have a boys' night and
Right.
stuff like that. So you're both trying to figure out each other's world and how you fit with each other now. And I don't know, I wanted her to feel like, because I had a house, but I wanted to feel like she wasn't moving into my house. That like, no, this is gonna be our house. And so I had pictures printed out of her family and friends and put them all around the house.
That's so nice.
Oh, that's
In
nice.
frames and
That's
stuff,
so sweet.
so that she walked in and like there's a picture of her grandparents and there's a picture of her mom and
She's like, why do you have a picture of my
I know,
grandparents?
I was like,
They've
love
been
your
dead for
grandparents.
50 years.
I stare at this picture every night. I love your grandparents so much. They are pretty awesome. But yeah, I just wanted her to come into feeling something familiar.
Oh, that's really
And,
nice.
I'm trying to think if any guy would ever do that. That is like
I
the
feel like
sweetest
they would,
thing.
they
I'm
would definitely not.
right. I'm hearing this going, that is the sweetest thing I've ever heard. And then I'm also going, that's a good idea. Like, I should write that down in case I meet someone that has to
God.
move
I'm not
across
always that
country.
thoughtful. So
No,
I'm
that
glad
was pretty thoughtful.
That's extremely thoughtful. I'll mention like one of my nieces now, and Mike will be like, "Who?"
Right.
And we've been married for a year.
Right.
That's hilarious.
I had an artist render what our child would look like, a combination of our two faces. Like,
Yeah, so
yeah.
I just wanted to feel like home. I didn't
Right.
want her to, because I imagine that has to be hard if you're like moving into someone else's space, feeling like,
Right.
oh, I can't put my glass here. Where are my clothes gonna go? Oh, can I sit here? You shouldn't feel like that when you're about to move into a
Yeah.
place. So that I was like, that's the least I could do is try to make this house comfortable and feel like hers too.
It sounds like it
'Cause
works.
she was making all these, sacrifices for me. But she's always been awesome like that, with my career. She's so supportive. She's an executive producer on both specials.
wow.
Oh,
Very
that's cool.
involved with both of them. Goes on the road a lot with me.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And so when you were gonna propose, is that something you like discussed before, or was this like a complete surprise?
That I would put it in the special. This is gonna be material, right?
Well, that would-
Did I discuss proposing?
Yeah, like you
Um,
discussed you were gonna get married.
I think
at some
we
point.
we knew we were headed towards that. Like
Okay.
I can't honestly remember if we had like a very like formal
Right.
wait, no, I take that back. We did look at diamonds.
Okay.
So then yes, she
That's
was
yes,
aware.
right.
I was like, wait, did we talk about it? Yeah, because I made the mistake of bringing her mom and her friend and her to look at some diamonds.
These are for the
That
frames of the
that
pictures of
usually-
your family.
Yeah.
You
Usually
can't
gives
really
it
say
away.
that.
And
Yeah.
and they brought out some and they're like, oh, those are pretty, and then they brought this one. They're like, whoa, that was so nice. And I was like, oh, now I gotta get this one. You can't get the one that
Yeah. Now you get. Well,
it's
what
like,
about
that's
this one?
cute.
Right.
You gotta get the one where everyone's like, oh my god, that's
Yeah,
the one.
The showstopper.
yeah. So yeah, she knew it was coming, but didn't know when it was gonna happen. And then once I got the ring, I don't like being responsible. I don't wear a lot of nice jewelry,
Mhm.
and I don't like being responsible for nice pieces of jewelry.
So just get
I'm
it
like,
out
I gotta get it
immediately.
out of my
Yeah,
hands.
I can
So
see
I
that.
was just antsy to like figure it out. So in the moment of that weekend in my head, I was like, I probably should abort this mission and start over another time, another weekend. Not like I'm not going to propose, but like, I don't know if this weekend's the right one because everything kept going wrong. But I just didn't want to keep being responsible for the ring. And in my head, I was like, you already planned to do this. I'll just have anxiety.
Well, it sounds like it came out like funny, but very like, thoughtful. I think that's
Yeah.
all. I always think it's like that's what goes into, that's what makes a good proposal, is something that shows that you like know the person, you put thought on it. I mean, we've had people write in with very bad proposals.
Right.
And usually when the person's upset, it's like you did something that shows that you don't even like really know.
Did you even
who I
know
am.
me?
Right.
Was this could this have been an insert person here? Yeah.
Well, I'm not, I say it in the special, I am not the most romantic person. So that kind of stuff is hard for me to try to think of what to do.
But that's why it's even better, because it was romantic. So it's like I think it's more romantic when you do something that's not in
That's
your
not
nature.
your thing,
If
yeah.
you were the kind of person that was like writing her love songs and waking her up every
Well, I have a
day,
lot of love
was-
songs for her.
like then this would be like, okay, she does that for everyone. That's
Yeah,
not like
right.
so. It doesn't show
I
that
do
she
write love
cares.
songs for everyone in my life.
Well,
Oh, you do?
all right. I'll send you my address.
Yeah, you got one coming, bud.
I better have something in the
Get
mail.
ready.
Yeah, get out that guitar. Do we want to play some games?
Yeah, let's do it.
So we play a game called Red Flag Deal Breaker.
Yeah.
It's pretty, I'm sure you know it even by hearing the title. You're going to hear a scenario. Someone's going through something. Everything's going perfect. Is it a red flag? You see it, notice
Okay.
it, but you keep in it. Or is it a
All
deal
right.
breaker? You break up right away.
All right, let's see it.
Yeah.
And listen, people, if you're watching on YouTube, if you're listening right now, go on Netflix, hit the Fortune Feimster special. It's called Good Fortune. Put it on your queue. Get it ready for the, night, Sunday on the couch.
That's right.
Friday night, staying in. It's a great special. Loved it.
Thank
Hilarious.
Great for cuffing season.
Yeah,
Yes,
perfect.
it is. And if you're going to propose, it'll tell you what not to do.
All right, ready?
Okay.
Hey, J&J, love you guys. Love being a subscriber. Can't wait to hear your take on this one. Red flag or deal breaker, he still has all his old relationship Instagrams up. Let me explain. A couple years ago, I was in grad school. My friend from home was setting me up with her friend from college. When I did my classic first Instagram deep dive, I noticed he had all his photos up from his past relationships, which had ended over a year prior. He posted pretty frequently, so it wasn't like they were the first thing in his feed, but they were all still there. On top of that, they all still had their original captions. Happy birthday to the love of my life. Cheers to the cheers to the best girl a guy could ask for. Thankful for her. And these aren't even close to the mushiest or longest captions.
wow.
It even ended up working out with, it never ended up working out with us, but I wanted to hear your thoughts. I'm not sure what reminded me of this today, but I had to go back and check and see if they're still up, and they are. So red flag
Wow.
deal breaker, he's still got a bunch of couples pics with his ex on his page, confessing his love for her. What do you think?
And did she say that she still is with him or no?
No,
No,
broke
they
up.
never, it didn't work. It
didn't work out.
Never ended up working out with us.
I see. I wonder if he still has pictures of them, of her too.
Well, maybe they didn't even get that
yeah,
far.
did they get that
Right.
far?
They didn't get Instagram
Ri-
official.
Right. They,
I think they,
she didn't get a hard
She got
launch.
love of my life.
Yeah. I
was
guess
just
the other
saying,
one was still number
hashtag
one.
love.
Yeah. What do you think?
Oh man, I mean that would be. I can see like a couple slipping through the cracks because you're like you're busy. You know
Right.
how much time you have to go back and take everything down. But like a multitude of them is bizarre.
I mean,
think
you meet your wife. Do you go and immediately? Do you go to Instagram? Do you go? Do you
Oh,
go do
yeah.
some stalking?
everybody stalks
Right.
the person they
100%.
just met,
Y-
right?
You're at the Chicago. You're at the Pride parade, and
Yeah.
then you get home. You
You're
go.
like,
Let's,
what's your last name?
Right.
Why do you want to know? No reason.
Yeah.
Here's my question though. Do you, and I feel like women maybe more commonly stalk really far
Women
back.
are stalkers.
Really
They're
far
going.
back.
Yeah,
Whereas I
yeah.
feel like you
They
probably
should work
look
for
at
the
first
CIA.
10 pictures.
Well, here's what I don't think of, and this is where I give this guy empathy. I don't think of like the cleanup job
Right.
of the person that existed before. I've never had this situation where I go, ah, and I run to Instagram and
Yeah.
I archive.
I was about to say, I don't think guys think about it like women do.
I agree with
in
that.
their head, they're not like, I met someone, I gotta go to Instagram stat and get rid of pictures. I
Yeah.
don't think they think that far.
The only thing in this scenario that makes me not on his side is like he's an active user. And like because she says he's he posted pretty frequently.
Right.
But if you're posting frequently, you're like, oh, it goes down. My life
Right.
keeps going down the scroll. Like it's not
Right. You're moving forward, not backwards.
right.
Right.
Also, the ex could have been the one posting those. We don't know.
That's true.
Yeah.
I have like a I don't know. I see it from both
Mm-hmm.
sides because on the one hand, I'm like, okay, clearly it didn't end that badly. That he's like purging every single thing that ever
Right.
reminded him of this
Right.
person, and he's angry because that would be like the worst case scenario.
Mhm.
This is kind of like worst case. He's like still thinking they might get back together, and best case, I guess. Best case, he just is oblivious.
Right.
He doesn't
Right.
care at all.
Right,
Yeah.
which can be a problem too. If
Right.
he's not like doesn't think about things. He could be kind of that type of personality. Like I never think about.
Man, that's way
Yeah.
deeper than I would think. Like I'm
If
like,
you-
no, but I agree
it
with like
could be a
maybe he just doesn't
personality trait.
care
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
nothing matters to him.
Right,
Yeah,
That's true.
yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
Where-
if nothing matters to him, then why is the fact that he's saying to the love of my life, best girl a guy could ask for? That seems
Yeah.
like you care at one point.
Right.
Mhm.
But or are you just like an actor on social?
Right.
Are you one of those social media people
That's true.
that is like
Right.
the love,
All
the
for-
wonder?
All for show.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't know.
But
I would, for me, this wouldn't, I would see that and I would, the only thing I would look at when I look back is like, do I look a lot like the last guy? That's the one thing. And I guess
Yeah.
that's a narcissistic.
Yeah,
Quality
you
of me.
definitely check out. I mean, you definitely are curious about who they dated before, and you
Right.
want to see the pictures, and you do a little comparison
Right.
thing. But yeah, when I would meet people, when I met Jax, if I saw like an ex in a post, I wasn't like, oh, why is that still up? It was more like, huh, interesting. Like, 'cause
Right.
You're kind of taking that person in and comparing yourself.
Of course. I
Yeah.
kind of have that. But I guess, and then you would think, I would think it's, I actually know someone that went through this, like from the guy perspective, and
Yeah.
For her exes.
for her exes,
Okay.
and he was like, looks like it got pretty,
Yeah.
the serious nature of what they were in. He was like, well, maybe they're not out of that yet. Maybe
Oh,
they're
that's
still,
the
and that's the
fear,
fear.
yeah.
Right.
And then it did end up coming up in their relationship. And I remember he asked me, he was like, what do you think? I was like, I would just mention like, you got all these things up.
Mm-hmm.
What it makes me feel this way, and it ended up getting taken away. But it wasn't until later. It wasn't like,
Yeah.
oh, I want to fix you up with this person. Then like, oh, okay. It was like months in.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just wonder because it's like social media is so new relative to like history.
Right.
So is it going to be like if you didn't, let's say you were the kind of person who's like, it doesn't matter to me, I don't think about it. Your
Mm-hmm.
grandkids are going to be like, I assume they're going to see your social media posts at some point, or
Oh,
your
wow.
kid, your
I didn't
kids,
think
Right.
that
and
far
they're going to be
ahead.
like, Mom, who's this guy?
Right.
Like,
Yeah.
who is the love of your life? Who was the actual love of your life?
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's like, I got around.
Right?
Your grandma.
Yeah.
This
Your
woman,
grandma
yeah.
had some fun.
I guess, yeah. I guess you didn't grow up with scrapbooks, or many people. Maybe someone had.
Maybe
their
you'd
mom
find
had
an old picture in
Yeah, I
the
guess
back of someone's
scrapbooks
closet
would
or
have been
something.
the equivalent. Old letters and
Right.
stuff.
Why?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why does this person say you're the love of their life? And this
Yeah.
letter they
Yeah.
wrote you. Yeah.
Yeah, because I think at some point you probably. I mean, if they had gotten more serious, you probably could have just been like, "You're gonna need to go to Instagram."
Yeah,
and do a,
exactly. That's
a
what I.
sweep.
That's what I did.
Well, he really fucked himself. Like you. That's what you did.
I waited like 2 years, and then I was like, all right, the old profile pictures could go.
Right.
Yeah.
Let's have a spring cleaning.
That's enough,
Everybody should actually do a spring cleaning
Yeah.
of multiple
right?
things. I wore some really bad sweater vests
yeah.
Yeah.
in my past and some
Let's get to the
very
rid of the.
choice outfits. Those should also be wiped off the internet.
Hey, we're gonna do a cleaning. Your sweater vests, your old girlfriend on Instagram.
Yeah.
Let's
Yeah,
go
just
through.
name 3 and
Let's make
throw in-
room for
throw
some
in
new
that.
things.
Well,
Yeah.
it teaches you something for these captions. You
Right.
gotta
Yeah.
be careful.
You can't be too enthusiastic in these captions.
No.
Yeah, unless you're
dangerous.
like in it to win it and real serious. But if you're in the early stages, you shouldn't be pouring your heart out.
I
Oh,
guess
definitely
that's why
not.
so many women do like this guy
Yeah,
as opposed to like
Right.
writing like
because no one
my-
could be like, well, it wasn't that guy.
right. Just that guy.
Love of my life is a very strong.
That's
That's a
a-
strong thing to say.
That's a very strong thing to say. Yeah, that's
That's the reason I wouldn't date them.
Because
Is
the
cheers to
caption?
the love of my life. The
Okay.
caption matters more to me than the picture. Like the caption is like, oh, I'm gonna go out with this delusional idiot
Right.
You know, like they didn't even think,
Seems like you already
practically.
found the love of your life.
Right.
Well, at some point you do have to be secure though, because the chance, depending on how old you are, the chances are that the person you're with was in a serious relationship
Right.
at some
Sure.
point. So they did speak like that to that person and had that kind of relationship. So it's not true. It's just weird when you see it. You're like, oh, I didn't want to see that, but it doesn't mean it
Right.
didn't
You
exist.
kind of want to live in an ignorant bliss.
Yeah,
You do.
exactly.
You do, but then you meet those people that you're like, are you that Instagram? Are you that person?
Mm-hmm.
Like this is the life I'm signing up for.
Yeah.
I'm going to be the most wonderful girlfriend in the world
Yeah.
one day. Like
Here's what people should do is I think you should, if you break up with someone, you can go back and edit the caption
That's
to
right.
be like what the reality was.
You just put this is a mediocre relationship.
Happy birthday
Same.
to
right.
to this
You'd
person.
be like, hey, look, I mean, it wasn't that
Happy
great.
birthday to a fine individual.
Yes. What your new version
Right.
of them is.
Yeah.
Yes.
And it doesn't have to be mean.
Yeah.
Happy birthday to my love of 2017 to 2019.
Right.
Yes.
That
Same.
would start so much drama. I'm just thinking, oh really?
You edited the caption.
They're like, why are these all edited? I don't know.
Yeah. I guess I'm a red flag. What do
I'm a red flag.
I'm a
too.
red flag, yeah.
okay.
All right, let's do another one.
All right. Red flag or deal breaker. They're 40 and they have semester at sea in the education section on their Hinge profile.
Oh, okay. They are 40 years old.
Yes.
And on their Hinge profile, they're saying they went to a semester at sea.
That was part of their college experience. They added semester at sea.
So
Yeah.
we're like digging like 18, 20 years back.
Yeah.
Just
Right.
the highlight of their life.
Well, I guess
Oh,
for
no.
education,
Well, that's the scary part.
I didn't even know that was an option for education.
Well, my question is on Hinge, does it automatically pull from like your Facebook profile or no?
No, you got to make a
Like if it's if it just happens to show up because back in high school,
Yeah.
they had semester at sea, and there is different than me being like, what am I trying to? How am I trying
Right.
to attract people?
It doesn't pull. I agree. I agree
Like
with
if
that.
it just picked your headline and you didn't know, like you filled out a form about yourself.
Exactly.
And it automatically was like, well, let's put this up. Let's highlight this thing. And you're like,
Right,
oh,
if that
God,
was
I
your-
didn't know that.
Right,
that
I'm
was
go-
your active choice.
Right.
I'm going to my profile to see
I've never been on Hinge.
what it is. Mine says my elementary school. No,
Best years of my life.
no. Mine says I played high school football. Oh no, like I'm a loser. So I do think you have to opt into what you put as your
Then
education.
that's weirder, yeah.
It's weirder.
That is weird.
Because you're putting, this is the resume. This is what you wanted people to see.
You're saying that 20 years ago, the greatest thing ever happened to you, and it involved you being hammered on a cruise ship while quote unquote learning.
Yeah.
Well, I guess it's something to talk about because you're looking to
Yeah.
say like I went abroad. I guess you're like you're trying to paint a profile because what bothered I don't
That would be considered going abroad.
yeah.
Going on a
I
boat.
was
I went
on a Carnival cruise for 6 months.
Yeah. I ate buffet for 6 months. I had chicken fingies.
They would film that stuff for MTV back in the day.
I remember.
That's the only way I knew about it.
I don't think I knew about that.
I think they might
Oh,
have done
yeah.
one season of Road Rules or its own show.
It was
Semester
real
at
world
sea?
semester at sea.
Real World
Oh
Semester.
wow, I
at
missed
Sea.
Yeah.
that one. I'm a big real world person too.
I
It
was
was-
too, and
Oh.
I think that was when it started going down.
They're like,
They're
no
like
one wants to see
learning.
this.
Woo.
I remember that because my cousin I think did semester at sea.
Oh wow. Okay.
And I was like, "That's the coolest thing!" Like,
Yeah.
it's not a good idea when 13-year-old you is like, "That's the coolest thing in the world." Like,
on a cruise for 6 months. Oh my god.
I'd be 7,000 pounds.
You know they can commit, right?
Right,
They
right.
can commit in an uncomfortable situation.
Right. They don't
Yeah.
care about toilets.
And is anyone truly going to class? And then how do you escape the professors are also on board? Like
In their bathing suits.
you're running into each other on the Lido deck.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think semester at sea, red flag. If it said like their sorority or the fraternity, I think I would be out. That would be a different level of weird or like regression.
Like being in a
Right.
sorority on the ship or a separate thing?
A separate thing. I
Like
think.
like
it
that's
said
the
they're-
proudest thing that
they have it
they
in
were
there.
part of that. Like
Yeah.
Chi Omega. I don't
Right,
know.
whatever it is. Yeah.
My greatest achievement is sorority social chair.
Well, it makes you wonder if that like how their life's going, because you're like, you should be proud of other
Things.
more current.
That was their
things.
peak.
See,
Yeah.
I separate it this way. In your if it's just a bullet point where like I went to Penn State, did a semester at sea, I'm okay with that because it's painting. Here's what my college
You're
was
like,
like. I'm 40.
education.
It's education.
Yeah.
Here's where I go off the cliff with this one. When people write, the riskiest thing I've ever done is move to Australia for 6 months my junior year of college. It's like, yeah, that's called college abroad. That is not the riskiest.
You were in a program.
Right.
And
Your
they housed you.
You applied in Pennsylvania.
Your parents paid.
Yeah, and your parents paid. You had a credit card attached that didn't have your name on it.
Now, let me ask you guys this. Would it be less of a red flag if the profile just said, I love cruises?
Yes.
That would
Yes.
be less.
Less.
You-
Although I'm
you'd
not
like-
a fan of cruises,
Yeah.
but I do think it would be,
would be
at least
okay.
it's more like you
Like
said
a
before, you're
current
not
thing.
living in like the past of your
Right.
former glory of like those are your best
Yeah.
days, and it sounds like they're behind you.
Because you do have to line up what you're into, because some people hate cruises. It's like adults who like Disney World.
Right.
There's
Right.
a specific
I come from a cruise
person.
family.
You like
Okay.
cruises?
We used to go growing up. I do have this thing inside of me that that thinks a great idea for a new couple is a they call them I think redirectional cruises. I think this is
like finding
Like
love
couples therapy?
within your. Well, yeah, is that couples therapy?
no. They this is so not it's
We're
when
both
they
wrong.
it's when they you're both wrong. It's when they
Swingers.
for the seasons when they move the boats from the Northeast. Like
Okay.
there's cruise ships that are docked during the summer, do routes around Nova Scotia.
Okay.
So then over from when they go from summer to winter, the boat has to go from New York down to Miami.
Okay.
So there's something called, I think, a repositioning cruise.
Repositioning, okay.
And what they do is they go, you can get on the cruise for like $300.
Okay.
Because they have to get the boat down there anyways.
But you're not going to see anything cool.
You'll go to one island,
Yeah,
but you're going to
you'll
do a lot
pass-
of days at
You'll
sea.
wave at Virginia
Okay.
Beach.
Right.
You
But
have to help serve the crew.
you gotta clean the boat. You're gonna have to mop the decks, swab the deck.
But all
I do
you can
think,
eat, baby.
right? All you can eat. You got the pool, but I think it's a good idea for like if you're a new couple, like 6 months in, and you're sitting here in New York, and it's like February. You're like, you want to do something different? Wouldn't that be a fun adventure? That's more of an adventure than going abroad to Australia, in my opinion. I don't know. I always have this.
That does not sound fun to me.
No.
That sounds terrible.
Especially you're new in dating. If it doesn't work out, you're on
And
this
now,
redirectional
and now
cruise.
Myrtle Beach. No.
Okay, I'm glad I ran this by some women because
Don't
this is
ever.
my big idea.
Don't ever
Oh my
offer
God.
that up.
Happy anniversary! I got us a $60 ticket on the redirectional cruise.
And definitely don't put
where-
that in your profile.
Oh no!
Hinge.
I gotta change the profile.
Yeah.
This was my version
Red
of printing out the
flags.
That
grandparents.
sounds like something someone who went to semester at sea would suggest.
Right. Is this about me?
Relive the glory
Yeah,
days.
did you do this on your profile page?
I thought this was the sweetest idea ever. You guys were like, "This
it's
is
a
garbage."
terrible idea. If you're gonna go on a cruise ship, at least go to like the Caribbean,
I don't know.
St.
Like,
John's.
you took a
A
flyer.
great way to find out just how cheap the guy is.
Yeah, it's like
To
it's like taking
BOGO.
it's like going on a cruise because you got a Groupon.
Yeah.
You don't know. It's not.
It is a version of
romantic.
that.
Yeah. All right, let's do one more.
All right. Red flag deal breaker. When you get in a flight, they say,
In a
"Well,
fight.
oh, get in a fight." Sorry. Red flag deal breaker. When you get in a fight, they say, "Well, my mom agrees with me," as part of their argument.
Oh. That can't be good, right?
What's the dynamic in a lesbian relationship between the moms?
between the mom and the
The cross
lady?
mom,
Oh, the
The
mom,
daughter-in-law.
the
mom-
daughter-in-law. Yeah.
Our moms.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's probably similar to heterosexual couples.
Is it? I don't know. Like,
Everybody's sizing each other up, right? You're like, are you good enough for my
right.
child?
Yeah.
Probably is what parents are thinking at first.
I was just thinking, like, mothers and sons are like this weird kind of relationship.
Yeah.
And sometimes
sure.
it's like, the girlfriend is like trying to break into this weird mother-son thing that might be going on, or with the dependency issues.
My mom has that with me.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because that I was like her +1 forever.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's a scary thing.
That's a scary thing on my Hinge profile if I had one. My mom's my +1. Is this a deal breaker?
Good luck getting into this wedding.
Well, my parents divorced when I was young, so I somehow kind of took on this role as I got older of sort of being the person with my mom that would go to things. We like went on a cruise together. We went on a cruise together, which I would never put on the profile.
Mother-daughter cruise.
Yes. So I think that we had that similar dynamic of when I finally met, that like she knew this is the one. There's a little like, well, what is this? What's happening? Kind of.
Really?
And I think moms are like that with sons.
Yeah, absolutely. I don't know.
Like my baby, you're taking my baby, that kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
And then it becomes like a power struggle a little bit sometimes.
Exactly.
Well, have you ever had this happen in an argument?
I would never in a million years say, or at least, God, I hope I've never said this.
My
wife is probably like racking her brain right now, thinking, I don't think I've ever said that.
I feel like
I hope I've never said that.
I feel like that's a great way to get your partner to hate your mom.
Yeah, exactly.
Right.
It would not help things at all. Because I mean, the thing is that once you're in this relationship, that's the thing. This is the thing. You are trying to like, I'm an appeaser. I try to please my mom, but I can't appease my mom over my wife.
Mm-hmm. It'd be even worse
even if she's listening right now.
Don't tell my mom this. Please, God, no one tell my mom about this.
She's gonna uninvite you to the cruise next month. It'd be much worse if they said mommy instead of mom.
My mommy.
Well, my mommy agrees with me.
I have to say, I've had the urge to do this, but my therapist.
Really?
I've discussed this with my therapist, and here's that's the most annoying thing you can do. I think I've probably done it.
You have done it?
Yeah, it's probably one of the most annoying things you can do.
I would be like, get him on the phone. Get the therapist on the phone.
I'd be like, great,
Right.
get down for couples therapy.
I want to hear how much they agree with you.
But rarely is my mom right, so I'm pretty sure.
It's actually a bad sign.
I'm
Yeah.
pretty sure I've never said that because I probably agreed that my mom wasn't right about whatever it was.
Right. No, you know what? I think I said my therapist agrees with me in a fight with my sibling.
Oh.
And then they were like, well, mom's therapist thinks she's normal. So that just goes to show you how much that means.
It's like they had this like gun hidden in their sock that you didn't know about. They've been waiting to use that line their whole lives.
Have you said it?
I don't think I've ever said this. Well, my mom agrees with me. I think I know well enough. I don't know well enough not to go on a repositional cruise.
Right.
But I do. This is one of those where I think when you hear yourself say something like that, you go,
Right, you have to.
ooh, I'm that guy,
Yeah. Yeah, well, because at this point, your mom's opinion can't be the end-all, be-all. You're an adult.
Well, I think polling anybody in a fight, it's over. Like, when you go, well, so-and-so thought, you're like, you feel a little like the relationship is naked.
Right.
Like, I'd be annoyed that they even went to the group chat, oh, my friend think you're crazy for doing this. Like, what?
Right.
Well, it's like you said, then you're making your partner not like that person.
Yeah.
That doesn't do anything good for their relationship.
Right.
So that would be
now
not
they're just on the
smart
side.
to do. Yeah, because you want everybody to be cool.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I agree. I think it's definitely a bad move if you can get away with if not saying that, even though I think you probably have the urge to. Or it's even better, I think, if you just you think it's better or worse if instead of saying my mom agrees with me, instead you say my mom thinks we should do it like that. So maybe we should do it like that. That's almost like I feel like the more realistic version of like my mom doesn't think we should live here. My mom doesn't.
I would still be like, what? Well, she's not living here. What the fuck
like
does she have to do with this?
Not her.
Right.
I feel like what we do now is like, well, people. What people would agree with me. That sometimes happens.
Or like ask anybody.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. I'm right. Ask anybody.
You go tell people this is your opinion.
That's
right.
what I do, and I do the hands too.
Double.
Ask anybody.
We'll Google it.
Right.
Yeah.
Listen, this was so
was great.
fantastic. Fortune,
was
thank you so much
awesome.
for coming on.
Oh,
This
my
was so
pleasure.
great.
Thank y'all for having me.
This was awesome.
Awesome.
I like talking about people's relationship problems.
Yeah, it's
Well,
not
then
our
you're-
problem.
Then you're
Yeah.
welcome back anytime.
I think
'cause
we
that's
had all
we
red
do.
flags. Were they all red flags today? Or
I think the mom agrees with me. I would be.
That would
that'd
be a deal breaker.
Pretty close to deal
I
breaker.
think
for
if it
me.
happened once, they would just be like berated. But
Right.
if it happened frequently,
If this was their thing.
yes, if it
Yeah.
was their thing,
you're like, I'm
then
gonna
that would be like, right.
emasculate you right now until you never say that again.
Gotta cut it off immediately.
Right, cut it off
You
at
know,
the
from everyone they know and love, and then
You have to
Once you-
isolate them from everyone they've ever cared about.
Yeah.
Then you're fine.
exactly.
good.
Then you can make it work.
That's a healthy relationship. That's how, Fortune, that's what we do here. We
Right.
create
You guys
healthy
are
spaces for
helping
people.
I
Yes.
love it. Wow,
We
I'm
solve-
glad I got to be a part of it.
Right, we solve dating every week. We want everyone to go watch Fortune special. Go right now.
Yeah.
Put it in your queue. It's called Good Fortune. Fortune also has another special, Sweet and Salty. It's
Yeah.
out there on Netflix, so you're
Yeah.
all over the place. So you got plenty of content out there.
That's right. And a brand new tour, Live, Laugh, Love tour.
Going on tour. Where are you going first?
Texas, I
wow.
believe. I'm going a ton of places starting in late January, and then we're gonna add a bunch more dates too. So,
Love
And
it.
where can they find the tour dates?
FortuneFeimster.com.
Go for it. Go follow Fortune on all social media. Fortune Feimster. Good Fortune on Netflix right now. Jordana, we solved dating again.
We did
Yeah,
it.
you guys did it.
Proud of us.
Oh.
You helped.
I'm gonna go call my mom.
Thank you.
The U Up podcast is produced by Sean Kilby, Maddie Paul, and Jorge Morales Pico. Editing by Jorge Morales Pico. Social media by Maddie Paul. Be sure to follow at u.up.podcast on Instagram and send us your emails to uup@betches.com.